Call the meeting to order. Councilman Reynaud, would you please lead us in an open invocation?
Do we have any special intentions? I forgot to ask.
Yes, Mrs. Beaumont, who is the grandmother of Patrick Beaumont, who works for the city of Kenner, died recently, and I would like you to keep the Beaumont family in your prayers. I have a very good friend. Their son's name is Wesley. He has had, I think, 50 operations. He's not doing well. If we could also keep them and Wesley in our prayers, it would be appreciated. Thank you.
Let us bow our heads and remember that we are in the presence of the Lord. God of mercy, we give you thanks for giving us another day. We thank you that we are a nation fashioned out of diverse people, cultures, brought forth on this continent in a way unlike the ancient people of Israel. As out of a desert, you led our American ancestors to the promised land, where they declared their independence and constituted a new nation founded upon inalienable rights given to each of us by you, our Creator. We pray that you bless our governor, our state legislators, and all of our elected officials with courage and wisdom, that they may be instruments of your peace, sowing love where there is hatred, pardon where there is injury, union in place of discord, faith instead of doubt, hope, not despair, light to cast away the darkness, and where there is sadness, joy. Giver of immortal gladness, fill them and us with a new life today. Bless us this day and every day. May all that is done be for your greater honor and glory. We pray in Jesus' name, amen.
Councilman Carroll, would you lead us in the pledge, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Chairman, you have a quorum this evening. We have Councilmember Klein, who is absent tonight.
With that being said, Madam Clerk, could we get a point of information from Ms. Roussel, the city attorney? Could you please explain mainly for the public who is here and to ensure everyone is clear on the voting necessary for action to be taken this evening, particularly the distinction between procedural issues and the ordinance and resolution in light of Councilman Klein's absence?
Certainly. Voting is covered under Section 2.17 of the city charter. What it provides is that, except as specifically provided in the charter, any ordinance or resolution may be adopted by an affirmative vote of a majority of the entire authorized membership of the council. So a quorum being for anything that passes tonight by ordinance or resolution will require a vote of 4, at least 4. But procedural matters such as a motion to postpone to a time certain or any procedural motion that is not required by resolution or ordinance, that could go by just a simple majority. So that would be 3-2. So you would need 3 votes to pass.
Including
any
deferral
procedural.
requests?
Correct.
Okay. Are we all clear on that, Council? Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Madam, please proceed.
Thank you. In accordance with Council Resolution Number B14550, please be advised that all cellular telephones, pagers, beepers, and other devices of this nature must be deactivated or silenced throughout the council meeting. Under the consent agenda this evening, we have item 1, approval of minutes, the regular council meeting of February 4th, 2016. Item 2 is approval of alcoholic beverage permit applications. We have none. Item 3 is approval of bingo and public gathering applications. Item 3A is application number 1904-15, Race to the Lake to hold a public gathering on April 2nd, 2016, from 7:30 a.m. to 1 p.m. for the purpose of the 3rd annual race at Lake Town in Kenner, Louisiana. That will conclude your consent agenda this evening.
Motion by Councilman DeFrances, seconded by Councilman Reynaud to approve the consent agenda. Councilman, please vote.
Mr. Chairman, motion passes 5-2.
5-0.
5-0.
5-0.
Looking at my machine.
It's okay.
It says different, so. Anyway, under the public appearance agenda this evening, we have item 9, public hearings for final passage. Item 9A is public hearing is a public hearing regarding Resolution Number B 16672, a resolution calling a public hearing on February 18th, 2016, to determine whether the structure located at 1034 31st Street in Kenner, Louisiana, shall be abated by repair, rehabilitation, demolition, or removal.
Motion by Councilman Carroll, seconded by Councilman Brennan, to open the public hearing.
Yes, sir.
Councilman, please vote for the opening of the public hearing.
Mr. Chairman, motion passes 5-0.
At this time, ladies and gentlemen, we're in the public hearing part of the agenda. Anyone wishing to address the council on item 9A on this public hearing, please come forward and be heard.
We have the Inspection and Code Enforcement Department that has a presentation tonight, if you'd
Thank
like
you.
to hear them at this time.
Okay?
The
Yes,
struc-
Oh, Mr. Pettit, you're doing it?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
The structure is a pile-supported slab structure bearing a municipal address of 1034 31st Street. Property is owned by Patricia Dillon and One West Bank FSB. It was determined that the property was unsafe and dangerous under the building codes for the city of Kenner, as well as Section 5-57 at all of the Code of Ordinances for the city of Kenner. Notice was sent via certified mail to the property owners advising them of the property and building violations, and we received no response. A curator was appointed who is here and will speak. As of this date, the violations have not been corrected, nor have there been any attempts to comply. We haven't even been contacted by anyone. The city has been maintaining the property for several years, and there's currently an amount owed to the city of $1,698.63. The city also contacted the services of an engineer who noted in his report that for the following reasons of inadequate maintenance and dilapidation and abandonment, that the property should be destroyed. The windows are boarded, sections of the soffit and fascia are damaged, a section of the soffit under the porch is damaged and precariously hanging, which is visible in the pictures. The blue tarp covering the damaged roof area is missing and causing rot to the roof sheathing. And based on the report of the engineer, the building possesses a safety hazard due to its current condition of the roof sheathing and soffit on the east side and surrounding conditions. Based on the visual observations, the structure is a hazard, and it's recommended that the city take steps to declare it a public nuisance and have it abated by demolition or brought up to current city codes and ordinances. Now, in full disclosure, I went out there and took these pictures that just got shown, and I have some old pictures from the beginning of this process, and there used to be a blue tarp that was just, looked like it had been on there since Katrina in the pictures. And when I went out in the pictures, you just saw there is a new tarp that has presumably been put on by some person after our engineer went and looked. Doesn't look like anything else is fixed, though, so while there's a new Band-Aid on it, it still appears that the dangerous condition of the structure is exactly like it was before. And again, nobody's contacted us. Ms. Sophie's here to tell you what she did as curator, and we haven't heard anything. So as far as somebody has done something, but it was minimal, and I don't think it makes any difference as opposed to as it applies to the dangerous condition of the property.
Does that conclude your presentation, Mr. Pettit? Ms. Rosado, would you please come forward?
Good afternoon, council members. My name is Sophie Rosado. I was appointed as the curator to locate Ms. Patricia Dillon and One West Bank FSB. I ran an internet background search on Intellius for Ms. Dillon. On November 25th of 2015, I mailed 21 letters to the addresses provided by the Intellius search. Of the 21 certified letters, 20 were returned unclaimed and 1 was returned claimed. I called all numbers on the Intellius reports for Ms. Patricia Dillon, to which I either left a message or was not able to leave a message due to certain numbers not having voicemail capability. I received a phone call from Ms. Patricia Dillon on December 11th of 2015 regarding the property in question. She stated she was working out of state in Texas and surrendered the property in question in a Chapter 7 bankruptcy in March of 2012. She said the mortgage company should have filed foreclosure and they have not, and she informed me that she also surrendered other property located in Kenner. I have that address if you need it after, as well, around the same time. I asked for the attorney's information that performed the bankruptcy, and she said it was the Kent Law Firm in Atlanta, Georgia. I then contacted the Kent Law Firm several times, and on January 12th and 20th, and the attorney was supposed to call me back. I received a phone call on January 21st, 2016 from Howard Kent of the Kent Law Firm stating that the property was in a Chapter 7 bankruptcy case that was closed February 5th of 2014. He stated that he represented the debtor, Ms. Patricia Dillon, and she surrendered this property in that bankruptcy. He also stated that with regards to the bankruptcy, the house was surrendered, and it becomes the property of the bankruptcy, and the estate belongs to the trustee. However, ownership at this time is still in Ms. Patricia Dillon's name, as the trustee either signed off or abandoned the house as there was not enough to liquidate to pay off the debt. So the property thereby reverted back to Ms. Patricia Dillon. He told me to contact the trustee, who is Kyle A. Cooper, to see if he had any interest in the property. On January 21st of 2016, I contacted Kyle Cooper, the trustee, and spoke with Don Wieland, the assistant to Mr. Cooper, who stated that they do not have any interest as they filed a report of no distribution on May 9th of 2013. He stated that the court closed the case, and basically the trustee investigated all property of debtor and found no assets to liquidate to make a meaningful distribution to the creditors. The case was reopened in April of 2014 as Ms. Dillon filed amended schedules, and the case was closed again on July of 2014. He stated that a motion for relief from stay was filed on behalf of One West Bank, the creditor, who wants to take hold of the property, even though there was an automatic stay that was filed April 6th of 2012. The hearing was to be on May 24th of 2012. He stated that James E. Albertelli Law Firm represented One West Bank. I called the numbers that were given to me by Mr. Wieland for the James E. Albertelli Law Firm, and to no avail, I did not reach anyone. I called the main number back and left a message to have someone contact me regarding the bankruptcy, and I gave them the case number in question. To date, no one has responded to that message. On January 22nd, 2016, I sent an email to the City of Kenner asking what I should do and if I should make further contact with the James E. Albertelli Law Firm, and I had been provided new numbers by Mr. Pettit. I contacted the law firm in Atlanta, since that is where the bankruptcy was taken. The phone number provided did not ring, and it sounded like a fax number. I then contacted the Tampa location, which is to be their headquarters, and left a voicemail message for Brandy Davis with the bankruptcy case number again, and information regarding the demolition proceedings that have been started on this property. To date, no one has contacted me from that law firm. On February 10th of 2016, I left a message for Ms. Patricia Dillon notifying her that the public hearing for the property was to be held today at 5 p.m. And regarding the fact that I am solely the curator hired by the City of Kenner and property rights may be involved for her, and I have not heard back from her either. On January 8th of 2016, a certified letter was mailed to the Kent Law Firm, which is the firm that did her bankruptcy, and it was returned claimed on January 11th of 2016. On January 19th of 2016, a certified letter was mailed to One West Bank, FSB, and it was also returned unclaimed on January 25th of 2016. Mennonite letters were sent by the City of Kenner to Patricia Dillon and One West Bank, FSB, on September 23rd, 2015, and also again to One West Bank on September 24th of 2015. Both were returned unclaimed. A copy of those letters and returned certified slips are included in my curator's exhibits. Not convinced all the named defendants had been found, I ran an ad in the Times-Picayune on January 22nd, 24th, and 27th of 2016, and to date have not heard from anyone regarding this ad. Those are the steps that I took, and my search is concluded at this time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions from the council for Ms. Rosado? Okay, thank you. Thank you, Ms. Rosado. Now, again, members of the public, anyone wishing to speak on this item? Seeing none, motion by Councilman Carroll, seconded by Councilman Impastato to close public hearing.
Mr. Chairman, motion passes 5-0.
Okay. Motion by Councilman Carroll, seconded by Councilman Brennan to approve. Councilman Carroll, you have the floor. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. Pettit and Ms. Pizzad, I want to thank you for your due diligence in doing this and the presentation today. I mean, you did everything you had to do, and considering that the owners of the building, they have done everything that they can do physically and financially can do. And this is when a person knows that from a financial standpoint, there is nothing more he can do. He contacted you, he contacted the attorneys, and this is where we are, and the process worked fantastic. It is just where when we get to a situation like this, and me and Mr. Terrell have had conversations as it relates to this, this is the perfect situation where the owner agrees that they can no longer fix the building. I think we should do something, and Mr. Terrell agrees that we should try to develop some kind of program where the city can reap some type of benefits from it and also offer other families who may have an opportunity to do it. I think as opposed to just tearing the house down and just letting the space be there for a while, we did what we have to do, but me and Mr. Terrell will talk in the future about what can we do to possibly offer other opportunities to families who are in Kenner or outside of Kenner. So, we need to go forward with this. I only ask that we, under the law, give the days that is required for them to do something else. And obviously, I don't think they're going to do it, but we still need to follow that law. And this is a conversation that me and Mr. Terrell will have further to express. When we get a situation like this, what can we do before we get to this point? But thanks again, sir. And also thanks for the information, the email that you sent on other properties. And I think my assistant, Kelly, had asked us to get additional pictures so we can look at it. So it gives me a little heads up and try to be able to work with you to see what we can do as we move forward. So thanks for that information. Thank you, Ms. Pizzada. Mr. Terrell, we'll be talking. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilman. Seeing no further discussion, Councilman, please vote on the motion to approve.
Mr. Chairman, motion passes 5-0. Item 10 is opening of bids. We have none. Item 11 is reclassification of zoning for final passage. We have none. Item 12 is other ordinances for final passage. Item 12A is summary ordinance number 11,991, an ordinance designating Butch Dewey Playground as a sports academy in accordance with the provisions of ordinance number 10,887 and providing for related matters.
Motion by Councilman Impastato, seconded by Councilman DeFrances. Councilman DeFrances is requested to speak. Would you like me to address it, or? Well, okay. To clarify, earlier today, we received a request from Councilman Klein. May I have the floor, Councilman DeFrances? Thank you. We received a request earlier today from Councilman Klein, who had an unforeseen circumstance which has necessitated his absence tonight. He wanted to participate in this discussion, as he knows it's an important issue to the city, and asked if we would be willing to consider deferring this. And so I believe that is the reasoning for Councilman DeFrances' motion for a deferral. So, Councilman, do you wish to have the floor?
We just simply think that it's such an important issue that we need to have as full a council as possible, especially since Councilman Segura from District 2 is the acting mayor and therefore can't vote on this. So we're just asking simply for a one-meeting deferral so that Councilman Klein can also weigh in on the vote, because we think it's that important. Thank you.
Councilman Reyno wishing to speak, and keeping in mind the motion on the floor is we have a motion for the deferral. Is there a second on the motion?
We haven't had a second.
Well, that's what I'm asking. Is there a second on the motion for deferral? Motion for deferral by Councilman DeFrances, seconded by Councilman Carroll. Discussion is now open on the deferral alone. Okay. Councilman, on the motion for deferral, is there any further discussion? Councilman, please vote on the motion for deferral. This is a one-meeting deferral, Councilman? One meeting. So in 2 weeks, this will come up with all 6 sitting council members.
Mr. Chairman, motion passes 5-0 for one-meeting deferral.
Thank you.
Item 13 is resolutions and motions by council members. Item 13A is a resolution approving the expenditure of funds in the amount of $263,500 received from the sale of city-owned immovable property for the construction of a new Hispanic Resource Center in Kenner Council District 3 in accordance with ordinance numbers 10,834 and 10,915.
Motion by Councilman Reno, seconded by Councilman Brennan. Councilman Reno, do you wish to speak? No. Councilman Carroll, you have the floor.
Thank you, sir. And like Councilwoman DeFrances, I am asking for a one-meeting deferral on this also. So we can address the deferral, then I can give you my reasons, or you want me to address my reasoning for the deferral?
I believe procedurally you have the right to open and close on the deferral, but nonetheless, the discussion at this point, as the motion has been made and seconded, must be limited to the deferral.
Yes.
And the,
I'll close then.
I believe it, oh, pardon me, excuse me, I apologize. Motion by Councilman Carroll.
Oh, we don't have a second. Motion for a deferral.
Is there any second?
Then I will speak right now then.
I see no second.
Can I speak even though I made the motion? I'll wait.
I don't believe you.
Okay, I don't
believe
think
you
so
can. I
either.
think it's not on the table unless there is a
Gotcha.
second.
I'll wait.
So I see no second on the deferral. I apologize, Councilman.
No, sir.
So
You're right.
we are on the original resolution, which was made by Councilman Reno, seconded by Councilman Brennan. Councilman Reno, you wish to have the floor? Okay. Any discussion on the resolution? Councilman Carroll, you
Yes.
have the floor.
And the reasoning that I was asking for the deferral, pretty much it falls in line with Councilwoman DeFrances saying that for the prior resolution is Councilman Klein's not here. Well, he's not here for this one either. So what is the difference? He's not here. This is something that is very important to us for the city. So maybe he should be here for this too. But that's just my personal opinion. But my biggest concern is that for this particular project, which I am for, I'm going to be perfectly clear about that, but as many times as Ms. Terrell and Mr. Gonzalez have beat me over the head about having the money to go forward for different projects, I don't feel comfortable enough right now that there is a plan in place. All of the money that's going to be required for this, I don't think, and if it is, please advise me here. I would like for Mr. Quigley to at least update us on where we are with this project, how much we have, and how much we're going to need to go forward, sir. We're off the deferral. I'm asking you a
We're on
question.
the substantive legislation.
Oh, okay, all right, okay. All right, okay, first of all, the new Hispanic Resource Center would be on 39th Street, which is directly behind our Fire Station 37, which is 1919 40th Street. So that would be the site that we're planning on building the new Hispanic Resource Center. Currently, we do have funding in the capital budget in the 03, 04, 07, 08, and 08, 09 capital budgets. We had allocated 3 different times, so we currently have $245,326.50 in the capital budget for the Hispanic Resource Center. So if the ordinance that we're talking about passes with the additional $266,400, that would give us a total of about $511,726,000 available for this project. We've moved forward and we've did an SOQ, and we selected Seisler Architects to begin the process of designing the building. The new building, in consultation with Arleta, the new building would have a total of 3,822 square feet. And we're making the assumption that when it bids, the bid would come in at about $200 a square foot. So the price of the building would be $764,400. Now, that would also have to include the architectural design, which is $79,737. So that would mean between the anticipated or budgeted amount for the building and the architectural design, we would need about $844,137. Now, that doesn't include any type of soil testing or surveys, or if we decided to do resident inspection. So, I mean, that would have to be, although the soil testing and the surveying wouldn't be that expensive, you know, we'd have to decide if we wanted to do the resident inspection in-house, or if we wanted to go ahead and get professional resident inspection. That could add to the total of $844,137. So, I mean, that is what we're anticipating the cost are. That was all done in July of last year, so I think it's a pretty accurate information.
Thank you, sir. So have we identified there's a difference of close to $500,000, if my math serves me correctly. Have we identified a fund source yet for this additional monies?
Well, obviously, you have the next year's budget coming up. We also have had money from the airport that we've collected that's yet to be budgeted. And there's some other property sales. So I would say that in the ensuing future, there are going to be some opportunities that the council could address that situation.
Right, and you didn't answer all. You didn't add into that also the BP money. So that's money too that we could actually.
Well, the BP money's already been budgeted.
Well, we haven't voted on all the projects yet, so
Well, as they come back, correct. But
we could.
But
so
the budget has been.
So technically, we could change that and include this, and that's what I'm saying. All I'm saying is, we have not identified, and again, I am for this, but to be comfortable to say this is where we're going to get the monies to pay for this, we haven't done that yet. We haven't had the conversations about that. No one's against this, but you know, to assume that is how it's going to happen or where it's going to come from, I am more comfortable, like I have been preached to always, that the fund source and the way we're going to do it should be identified. And if it takes us another meeting to figure that out, because presently it's coming from what we changed before, how when we used to sell streets, the money would stay within the district. And obviously, full disclosure, I was against that. But my biggest concern was that to be sure that it was done equally, fairly, not so much equally, because I don't think that could ever be done. We are assuming now that future projects like this, and from what I've been told, that the monies from those sales would go in the fund and all of it be taken out. So is that definite that's going to happen like that? We don't know. And the people, it's going to take us to vote on it again. I just would like to have the conversations to find out exactly how we are going to pay for this. Like anybody with a budget for their home, for their business, just to be sure it's going to be there and how are we going to do it. That's all I'm saying. And I think all of us, it's our responsibility to ensure that it's going to be there for it, however we choose to do it. So I know the deferral didn't pass, but because of that, I will not be able to support this in the present form unless I had a plan to know exactly how it was going to be paid for. That's just my position right now. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Franchez, you have the floor.
Thank you, Council President. Mr. Quigley, can I ask you a couple questions as well, please?
Yes, ma'am.
When was the first time money was allotted for the Hispanic Resource Center, and how much was it?
All right. In the 0304 budget, $100,000 was allocated in the capital budget.
And then there was additional money allocated at some future point, was there
Yes.
not?
Yes, on 3 different occasions. In the 0304, $100,000 was allocated. Now, a small portion of that has been spent, so we still have $97,026.50
From that
left
one.
in 0304.
Okay,
In 0708, $67,400 was allocated. That full amount is still there. In 0809, $80,000 was allocated, and that full amount is still there. So we have a total, but of the 3 years that I just said, we have a total of $245,326.50 in the capital budget that's allocated specifically to a new Hispanic Resource Center.
thank you. And that's what makes this one different. First of all, it's a resolution, it's not an ordinance, I need to point that out, that's number one. Number two, in addition to it being a resolution, which doesn't have the force of law like an ordinance does, okay? In addition to that, this is not a new project. You just heard Mr. Quigley go over how many years back this goes, that money has been allotted over and over again to try to get to a point where we will have enough money in the future to build a Hispanic Resource Center. So that's the first point. This is not a recent development. This has been going on since 2003, I believe you said, Mr. Quigley, if I'm correct?
That's correct.
So this is nothing new. It's nothing that happened a month ago. This has been going on for years and years and years with a commitment that previous councils and previous administrations made to ensure that in the future there would be a Hispanic Resource Center. In addition to that, the present Hispanic Resource Center, where it's located, which is really not a permanent building, in fact, it's moved off the foundation a little somewhat, which makes it dangerous, that will be sold at some point, and there would be money put back into the budget and into the capital budget when that property is sold to offset some of the additional money that we're adding at this point. That's the second point. The third point is this. It may be called the Hispanic Resource Center, but let me assure you, because I've been to so many functions there that I can't even count, past 10, I can assure you with my fingers, they don't just service the Hispanic community. They actually service everyone in the city of Kenner who wants to go there. We have children from every part of the Kenner community that actually go there, whether it's for tutoring after school, whether it's the health fair. And I could go on and all the different events where our children participate from all over the city. So that makes it a true benefit for everyone concerned. And in addition, our police officers go there to learn Spanish. We have the Rosetta Stone and we have computers there, and there are resources there for our police officers to be more effective in working with the community. We also have, some of our firemen have gone there, again, to learn Spanish so they can be more effective and be a true asset to this community and to the fire department, to the police department, as I've just described. So that's what makes this different from what we were previously talking about. The fact that we go back to 2003, the past that there have been commitments over and over again from previous mayors and previous councils. And although we may not have all the money right now, we need to do what has been done in the past and add to that fund so at some future point we can keep our word. Because if our word means nothing, then we really have a problem. And our word was, again, that at some point when the funds are sufficiently gathered together in one pot, that there will be a Hispanic Resource Center. And for that reason, I'm supporting it. Thank you.
And likewise, I will be supporting this resolution. To address one issue on the deferral issue, this is not a matter of needing Councilman Klein here or not. He requested the deferral on the Butch Dewey argument just so he could be here for that. He didn't ask for it for this, which is why we did not address it for him. We have the people here to take action on it, so we can. I do agree with Councilman Carroll's sentiments, certainly in part, because while I definitely agree with the allocation of this $260,000 plus figure, since we have an opportunity to do that at this point towards this effort. This does not mean that I'm necessarily stating that I'm in agreement with all future sources of revenue automatically being dedicated to it, but I do see this as an opportunity to take a huge step forward to get this project underway, and so for that reason, I am supportive of the resolution. We have the District 2 Councilman Segura, sitting as acting mayor. These funds came initially from a project that was in District 2, as I understand. I don't know if you'd wish to address the council on the issue or not.
Just very briefly to state that at the time in 2014, when I co-sponsored the ordinance to change the dedication of city asset funds from a district councilman's specific use only to the fund that is now available for the council to draw off of. And it was always the intent that as long as 4 members of the council wanted to do anything to draw off, that was the privilege of the council. I yield to the council to decide what to do with the money.
Thank you. Councilman Reno, you are next in line, but would you prefer to close? Councilman Reno has requested to speak. It was your motion. Okay, then that's fine. Councilman Reno, you're next in line. You have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. I didn't open on this legislation because I didn't think that we were going to have an issue with this legislation, because when the property was sold, the streets were sold to Lamarck Ford, everybody agreed that we would move this money over to build the Hispanic Resource Center. The Hispanic Resource Center is not a District 3 project. It is a citywide project, and it serves the entire community. There are people from South Kenner that use it. There are people from Middle Kenner, and there are people from North Kenner that use it. I mean, I don't know how else to put it. I mean, they're operating out of a trailer. The floors are weak in it. If you go in it, I mean, I'm waiting any day to hear that somebody slipped through the floor. It needs to be done. It needs to be addressed. And additionally, we have other properties that are being that are going to be sold. The Waffle House was one of them. I know we haven't gone to a closing yet, but we will have the money, and I intend to put in the capital for this next capital budget a request to come up with the additional funds to fund this so that we can build this building. We have the property. The city of Kenner owns that property, so it's just a matter of building the building. So I would ask for everybody's support. Thank you.
Councilman Brennan, you have the floor.
Thank you. I believe that everyone has made valid points, and I'm kind of taken back some because, as everyone knows, I'm new to this, but to see how far back this commitment was and how long this money's been sitting, just kind of is surprising to me. I think what Councilman Reyno said about the use of this facility, and that it's not just a north or a south or a 2 or a 3 or a District 5, whatever the case is, I think, and this may just not be the place to say this, but I think as a council what we need to really move forward in doing is what's best for the city and what's best for the people of the city, and not necessarily this district, that neighborhood, or this neighborhood. I think we need to move forward with this. I understand Councilman Carroll's concerns, but yes, I support this wholly.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Carroll, you have the floor to close.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just let me clear up a few things. First of all, I merely suggested that Councilman Klein could be here in the same notion that Councilman DeFrancis said that he should be here for the other vote. So in my opinion, I think he should be here for this vote. I don't need him to validate that or say he needs to be here. That is just my opinion, that I believe he should be part of this discussion. Secondly, when I said the Hispanic Center, I didn't name it the Hispanic Center. That is the placard that's in the book. Maybe we shouldn't call it that. Maybe we should call it the Kenner Civic Center. I don't know. But I am no way implying that because if the Hispanic Center, that it should only service Hispanic. We have the MLK Center and other centers which encompasses the whole city. So if anyone's implying because it's I said the Hispanic Center, I didn't make the name up for it. Let's change the name, and that way we don't have to have this discussion. Change all the names. I am not saying that. All I'm saying is, to Councilwoman DeFrancis' point, this has been going on since 2003. Well, we didn't do a good job then. Maybe we should have had a plan then. We still don't have a plan. So how much longer will it take? That's all I'm implying. I am telling Councilman Reyno, this is a great idea. We should have it. But if we intend to get this done in a timely manner, what does it hurt to come up with a plan to find out how we're going to play for this? It is not guaranteed that this Waffle House property or others are going to be agreed upon us. And if it's not, we're going to have to kick this can further down the road. So let's address it right now. That's all I'm saying. I am for it. It has nothing to do with Hispanic or not. It's about ensuring that we got a plan in place to build this building in a timely manner and not just keep kicking it down the road. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilman. At this time, there's no further discussion. Councilman, please vote.
Mr. Chairman, motion passes 4-1. Councilmember Carroll is abstaining. Item 14 is items removed from the consent agenda. We have none. Item 15 is acceptance of contracts and similar matters approved by the mayor. Item 15A is summary ordinance number 11,992, an ordinance authorizing the utilization of state contract number 4400008219 to purchase various types of ammunition from Barney's Incorporated, Barney's Police Supplies on an as-needed basis not to exceed $25,000 per year for the Kenner Police Department.
Motion by Councilman Brennan, seconded by Councilman Reno. Seeing no discussion, Councilman, please vote.
Mr. Chairman, motion passes 5-0. Item 15B is summary ordinance number 11,993, an ordinance accepting the lowest responsive bid received from Global Industrial Contractors, LLC, in the amount of $943,522.50 for Lake Trail Drive drainage improvements, facility planning and control, FP&C, project number 50-MF1-13-06, City of Kenner project number 2014-011-DR, in accordance with sealed bid number 15-6307 for the Department of Public Works.
Motion by Councilman Reno, seconded by Councilman DeFrances. Councilman Reno, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. Quigley, the funds for this project are coming from, sorry.
All right. Yeah, I'm very pleased to say that this is the largest capital outlay allocation the city's ever received. I got to compliment our Kenner delegation, especially Julie Stokes. I know was very dogged in her work trying to get this done. But we have, I think it's $815,000 that's coming from state capital outlay. And like I said, since the 10 years I've been here, that's the biggest one we've ever gotten. So we're real pleased with the work of our Kenner delegation up in Baton Rouge. And, I know this is something we've been anticipating getting for some time. But the bulk of it is going to be paid. What's the split, Jose, is like 75-25? 75. Yeah, so now we have $400,000 budgeted in our capital budget for this Lake Trail project. But the bulk of it will come from the state. And like I said, it was $815,000 out of capital outlay.
Thank you, Mr. Quigley. And I also want to say thank you to you because, we push for the capital outlay funds, also for Representative Julie Stokes, who, if it wasn't for her, we probably wouldn't have this funding. These people on Lake Trail have been having a drainage issue for in excess of 20 years, and this project right here is going to fix all of the problems that they've been having. So, and I would like to thank everybody that worked on this. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President.
Seeing no further discussion, Councilman, please vote.
Mr. Chairman, motion passes 5-0. Item 15C is a resolution approving an agreement with the State of Louisiana Department of Transportation and Development for New Orleans Connector Road Segment A, Aberdeen Street, Veterans Memorial Boulevard to Canal Number 14, improvements, State Project Number H.011-276, Federal Aid Project Number H.011-276, and the City of Kenner Project Number 2014-003A-RB.
Motion by Councilman Carroll, seconded by Councilman DeFrances. Councilman Carroll, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. Gonzalez or Mr. Quigley, if you can just bring all of us up to speed about this project and tell us where we are and where we're going to be in the future for this.
This particular project calls for the design and construction of a 4-lane divider facility between Veterans Boulevard and the airport to service the new airport terminal. The project is being financed with Federal Highway Administration funds, 80%, and 20% with airport funds as far as construction is concerned. The design is being financed with airport funds. As far as the design is probably around 30% complete. We are hoping that the project will be completed during mid-2018 before the airport terminal opens up.
Thank you, sir. And just as added information, the overall project for the new terminal, the plans are to start in the middle of March for the actual construction portion of it. which is going to encompass a lot of trucks with dirt and all. But this particular roadway is needed until we can get this flyover from the interstate onto the airport. It is important that we make everything that we can do to alleviate any type of traffic or other concerns that the citizens of Kenner, in that particular Susan Park and Veteran Heights and Loyola and Lincoln Manor, will experience once this project starts to going. Thank you, Mr. Gonzalez. Thank you, Mr. President.
Mr. Quigley, would you like to address this issue?
Yes, it's related to this, segue to the fact that next week we have two public meetings, and while we're on TV and people can see, we have two public meetings because the bulk of the airport expansion or new terminal is going to beginning in March. So we have two public meetings. I know we've invited all the council members to go. The first meeting will be for the business community. It's been organized by JEDCO. Annalisa Kelly, our JEDCO agent, took the initiative to get the Doubletree Hotel. It's going to be 9 o'clock Monday morning, February 22nd, 9 a.m. at the Doubletree Hotel on Veterans. So that will be specifically tailored to the business community on Bainbridge and on Crestview. On Tuesday night, Councilman Carroll has organized the community meeting for the residents, Veterans Heights, Susan Park, which are the two communities that are most immediate to the project. That's going to be at 6 o'clock p.m. on Tuesday, February 23rd. I got the date right this time, huh? Tuesday night, February 23rd at 6 p.m. at the Susan Park Gym. So I just wanted to bring that up. You know, we have the press here, we got on TV. So like I said, the project will really start kicking up or moving at Ernst in March. So that's why we want to go ahead and let primarily the joint venture, which is Hunt Metro Gibbs, Hunt Metro Gibbs, Bow Brothers. That's the joint venture. They've had a work plan that I know all of the council members, the police chief, we've worked real hard with them to approve their work plan, which we think, you know, we'll try to mitigate as much of this as possible. And at this meeting, we'll go over it both with the business community and the affected residences.
Thank you. And just for clarification, the meetings next week are not limited to those areas. These are for anyone in the city, or even not in the city, who would like to get more information. So we'd invite everyone and welcome everyone's attendance who has any concerns or just wants to get some information about it. So, thank you. Seeing no further discussion, Councilman, please vote.
Mr. Chairman, motion passes 5-0. Item 15D is a resolution approving change order number 1, final, and accepting as complete the construction contract with J.B. James Construction, LLC, dated August 8, 2014, regarding the Veterans Boulevard Overlay and Bridge Modifications Phase 2, Kenner Project Number 2011-0025-T, State Project Number H.009441, and Federal Aid Project Number H.009441 at a final cost of $1,360,051.65, which is an increase of $42,589.43 from the original contract amount and increasing the contract time by 16 working days.
Motion by Councilman Carroll, seconded by Councilman DeFrances. Councilman DeFrances, you have the floor.
Did you want to speak on this? That's what I was going to. Mr. Gonzalez, you know, whenever we talk to the public, they always ask us why we have to increase the cost. And in this case, we needed 16 extra days in order to complete the project. Can you give the public a little bit of an idea why we needed all that extra time and what kind of problems we ran, arose while we were doing the work that necessitated to increase the time frame and the cost?
Sure enough. Before we get into that, let me just say that this is another federal aid project. It was financed with 80% federal highway funds.
Terrific.
The city only had to come up with 20% match, which is a good deal for the city.
Terrific.
Anytime we can have something like that.
Absolutely.
As far as the 16 working days, which do not equate to calendar days, okay, because the state uses working days rather than calendar days. We ran into some unforeseen conditions out there relating to utilities, water and sewer specifically. okay? And we also had to make a number of adjustments to plant quantities. Those are the two main reasons for the $42,000 increase, which we are only responsible for 20%. So we still got a good deal. We replaced a bridge that was in poor condition out there, and we resurfaced a large section of Veterans Boulevard. So that's the reason for the 16 days and the reason for the overrun.
And again, there are always problems, unforeseen problems that can occur. And sometimes, the public doesn't understand why we have to increase the cost. But when you start a project, there are always problems that can, hopefully never do occur, but can occur. And to be honest with you, when we're paying only 20% of the cost, that's a wonderful deal for the people of Kenner. And we're very grateful to the hard work that you and your staff have done to make sure that we were able to get these funds to, complete these type of projects where, again, we only had to pay a small portion of the cost. Thank you for all the hard work.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Cow, do you wish for the floor? Okay. Seeing no further discussion, Councilman, please vote.
Mr. Chairman, motion passes 5-0. Item 16 is ordinances in summary for first reading. Item 16A is an ordinance rescinding Appendix A zoning of the Kenner Code of Ordinances, more specifically ordinance number 2427, the City of Kenner Comprehensive Zoning Ordinance adopted December 4th, 1978, and adopting and replacing it with a new City of Kenner Unified Development Code, UDC, that Chapter 14 subdivision of the Code of Ordinances, City of Kenner, adopted August 14, 1972, shall be repealed and reenacted in Article 13 of the new City of Kenner Unified Development Code, that Chapter 10, Article 12, Article 7, Group Homes and Community Homes of the Code of Ordinances, City of Kenner, adopted August 14, 1972, shall be repealed and reenacted in Article 12 of the new City of Kenner Unified Development Code, that Chapter 2, Article 3, Planning Commission and Zoning Commission of the Code of Ordinances, City of Kenner, adopted August 14, 1972, shall be repealed and reenacted in Article 4 of the new City of Kenner Unified Development Code, and directing and authorizing and empowering the planning director to alter and amend the official zoning map of the City of Kenner, Louisiana, and related matters. Item 16B is an ordinance approving the plan of re-subdivision of lots 31B and 35A, square 159, into lot 31B1, Kenner Heights subdivision, and further approving a planned unit development on lot 31B1, square 159, Kenner Heights subdivision for an office and warehouse development for the storage of recreational vehicles. Item 16C is an ordinance approving a plan of re-subdivision of lots 2 and 3, square 26, into lot 2A, Hanson City subdivision, and approving the placement of a manufactured single-family dwelling on lot 2A, Hanson City subdivision. Item 16D is an ordinance approving the plan of re-subdivision of east half of lot 9B and lots C1, LM, N1, N2, MQRSTU, and a portion of Lot V, and the portions of road adjacent to the lots C1, LM, N1, N2, MP, QRSTUV, into Lot L1, Oakland Plantation subdivision. Item 16E is an ordinance accepting the lowest responsive bid received from Golden Metals Incorporated in the amount of $12,249.80 for the purchase of metal and associated material for Buddy Lawson Gymnasium in accordance with bid number T16-2366 for the Department of Parks and Recreation. Item 16F is an ordinance accepting the lowest responsive bid received from Golden Metals Incorporated in the amount of $9,295.74 for the purchase of metal and associated materials for Lincoln Manor subdivision in accordance with telephone bid number T16-2365 for the Department of Parks and Recreation. Item 16G is an ordinance accepting the lowest responsive bid received from Brotherhood Way General Contractors, LLC, in the amount of $9,350 to furnish and install a CMU block wall at AP Clay Splash Park in accordance with letter bid number 16-1543 for the Department of Parks and Recreation. Item 16H is an ordinance accepting the lowest responsive bid received from LA Fabrication LLC in the amount of $5,000 for the repair of the stairs at the Annie Washington Center for Transitional Housing located at 625 Williams Boulevard in accordance with telephone bid number T-15-2358. Item 16I is an ordinance authorizing the purchase of 1,060 DARE T-shirts at a cost of $7,110 from the Creative Product Sourcing Incorporated, a sole source provider for the Kenner Police Department. Item 16J is an ordinance authorizing the acceptance of the lowest responsive bid of Subterranean Construction LLC received on January 21st, 2016, under seal bid number 15-6308, and an amount of $969,807 for the construction of drainage improvements to University City and Audubon Place subdivision areas, Phase 2, Millsaps Place, State Project Number H.010107, City of Kenner Project Number 2014-002B-RB. Item 16K is an ordinance accepting the lowest responsive bid from Hard Rock Construction LLC in the amount of $209,856.90 for the Williams Boulevard, LA 49, sidewalk improvements, East Side, Phase 2, West Napoleon Avenue to Veterans Boulevard in accordance with seal bid number 15-6309 for the Department of Public Works. Item 16L is an ordinance approving a professional service agreement with Linfield, Hunter and Junius Incorporated for resident inspection services and an amount not to exceed $155,000 for the Lake Trail / Vintage Drive Drainage Pump Station, State Facility Planning and Control Project Number 50-MF1-13-06, City of Kenner Project Number 2014-011-DR for the Department of Public Works. Item 16M is an ordinance approving an engineering agreement with IMC Consulting Engineers Incorporated to provide engineering services associated with the design and construction administration relating to the installation of properly sized generators banking system for the City of Kenner's wastewater treatment plant number 3 in an amount not to exceed $206,649 for the Department of Public Works. Item 16N is an ordinance approving amendment number 3 to the professional services agreement with Linfield, Hunter and Junius Incorporated, which increases the maximum agreement amount by $6,684 for professional services related to humidity control and lighting controls at the Pontchartrain Civic and Convention Center. Item 16O is an ordinance accepting the lowest responsive bid received from Ray Brothers Incorporated in the amount of $312,727 for Susan Park Gymnasium roof replacement in accordance with seal bid number 13-6163 for the Department of Parks and Recreation. Item 17 is reports from the
Looks like
council.
we need dinner for next meeting.
Item 17 is reports from the council and our special committees.
I would like to start this. We've gotten a few requests in the District 5 office concerning what's going on Loyola. And obviously, some people don't remember between the media coverage and the resolutions and, the ordinances that were passed. But that is the development of the NFL Retiree Assisted Living Center. So for anyone who sees that construction going on, that is part of a 32-city project where the NFL is sponsoring the construction of a high-end, kind of upscale and elite retirement center for retirees and senior citizens, so for anyone who's interested. Also, this Saturday at Divine Mercy Church Parish, there is a tailgate cook-off for Divine Mercy Men's Club, the church, and the school, starting at noon, from noon till, I believe, 5 p.m. It's a tailgate cook-off where all kinds of jambalaya, crawfish etouffee, and whatnot. It's a competition. The best booth there, I can guarantee you, we'll be cooking off of two big green eggs. Compliments only to the cook, the esteemed councilman from District 5. Yeah, very good looking guy. But anyway, it's a great event. It's a good fundraiser for the kids in the city of Kenner. So anyone that can be there, please come. Councilman Carroll, you have the floor.
Thank you, sir. And I apologize. I wanted to mention that Mr. Eddie Marks, who is a resident of District 1, who I, mentioned last council meeting, has deceased. And he was brought to his hometown. But we will be having a memorial at Our Lady Perpetual Help on February 27th, and it starts for 11. So anybody that knew Mr. Marks, or please pass the information on and would like to come, Mrs. Marks would appreciate you coming out. Thank you, sir.
Councilman DeFrances, you have the floor.
Thank you, Council President. I just want to mention that early voting starts Saturday, the 18th, and will continue until February 27th. And you can either vote at the Minor Street address, which is so convenient in South Kenner, in Councilman Carroll's district, or you can vote at the Yanni Building, and you may vote from 8:30 in the morning till 6 p.m. at night. So if you don't like to stand in line, this might be a good opportunity to, and you might enjoy going out and early vote. Thank you.
Thank you. See no further reports, Madam Clerk.
Yes, sir. Item 18 is new business. We have none. Item 19 is unfinished business and motions to reconsider or remove from a tabled position. We have none. Item 20 is persons wishing to address the council on special subject matters.
We have two, but I believe one is not here. Ms. Jerry Aiva, I believe I saw her leave. So, Mr. Al Morella.
Al Morella, 4260 East Loyola Drive, 5th District, 44 years. I want to respond to some comments that made in here at the last council meeting, and once again, I want to direct these comments to you, Councilman Carroll. The issue that I brought up on at the January 21st meeting was
Can I ask just for a
the issue-
second, Mr. Morella, if I'm going to pause your time? I would ask, and I believe our rules of decorum, I just want to make sure we're not getting into a personal issue here.
There's nothing personal about this.
I just
Yeah.
want to make sure I'm going to
Nothing
continue your
personal.
time.
The issue was the individual Anthony Johnson, who was a black man and was the first slaveholder in colonial America 200 years before the Civil War. Now, at the last meeting, Councilman Carroll, first you asked if I was an historian. To answer that question, I don't write history. I study it and I research it. Number two, you also stated that I had no documentation. I got the documentation right here. And I'd like to pass it, since you all like to respond to me when my time is up, I'd like to pass it to the council clerk and have her pass it to you. And if you wish to read it to the public in here, you can read this documentation. Now, you could have researched it just like I did, but you didn't. So it proves my point that the truth could be contrary to your beliefs and could put you in an embarrassing situation among your peers who might share those same beliefs. Now, I want to address this to Jose Gonzalez. At the last meeting, you stated you were not aware of a lawsuit, a class action filed against one of our vendors. That's okay. Now, if you would like to familiarize yourself with that issue, I have the article in my pocket that I can pass to you and let you familiarize yourself with it. Now, I want to say this, getting back to this issue that I brought up on the 21st. The reason I brought this issue up is because I'm tired of these half-truths. I'm tired of politicians using this issue to divide the people. Our country right now is more divided than it's ever been in the 240-year history. And I'm sick and tired of the half-truths. I don't believe in slavery. I never did. If I can't do my own work with my own hands, then I'm a sorry individual. But it happened, but the truth had to get out, and I want to say this, Councilman Carroll, whether or not you want to accept what this documentation says, that's all well and good. Because a lot of other people have researched it since I brought it up, and they found out the truth. And now it's out there all over social media. Anybody got any comments, any questions?
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank
Wait,
you,
let
Mr.
me pass it.
That's fine. Thank you for your time, Mr. Morella. Your time has expired.
Yes, sir.
Councilman
I got done what I wanted to get done.
Thank you. Councilman Carroll, you wish to speak?
Mike.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. Morella, I was hoping that you didn't come back with this stuff as opposed to valid information, because I think we always learn something here at the council, at least I do. But that's my position on this. This isn't anything that is valuable information that any of us can use to and I think what you're saying is that, first of all, I'm never afraid to talk about this subject because it's important that we talk about this. It's important that my children and your children and all of our children know about slavery in the United States. But obviously, you got to know this isn't something that strikes me as the prouder days for the United States, because this is a stain as an American that we have, as Americans, have to live with for the rest of our lives. And what I could not understand is, why would you bring up the fact that this individual was an African American, and to try to imply that because he was an African American, I am justified in saying what I want to say. Listen, it doesn't matter if he was blue, black, green, or polka dot. If he owned slaved, he was a scoundrel. Now I'm gonna get to the facts about what you said, your facts. Actually, I did do the research, not because I wanted to, because I knew you were coming. I ran out of wishes, and I knew you would show up here today. The fact remains that this person, Mr. Johnson, implied a servant. The guy that he had was a servant. They laid out a plan. After 7 years, he would leave. But the scoundrel that he was, he wanted to keep the man. So he wasn't initially a slave. He worked for the man. The man actually said, you know what, 7 years is up, I'm leaving. Mr. Johnson sued. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't know many slaves that had the opportunity to go to court and defend them. If they were a slave, they were a slave. They couldn't go to court and say, I don't want to be a slave. That's one fact. The second fact is, this individual, Mr. Johnson, was a scoundrel. He tried to cheat the man. But more than that, you said America, it was the colonial Americas so he really wasn't in the United States before that. But more than that, I did do the research. I did look it up. And my point was, it would be almost impossible to determine when the first person was a slave. And if you don't mind me to show the information that I have, and I'll be more than willing to give you a copy, but I'm going to let Madam Clerk read it, just the information that you had. I think sometimes when people go on the internet, they read, but they stop reading once they get to the point where they're satisfied, as opposed to reading everything. And unfortunately, that's what you did. You stopped when you thought there was something of value that we would want to know, which I don't think we wanted to know. But I did the research, and I'm going to ask Madam Clerk to read this paragraph to everyone as it relates to my point that was not the first time, and there was no way we could find this out.
Johnson ultimately won the case, and not only did he get his servant back, but Casser became Johnson's slave for life, as Johnson had said he was. This officially made Johnson the first legal slave owner in the British colonies that would eventually become the United States. There were other slaves before this and in the Americas, many actually, just not ones that were legal in the British colonies under common law.
There you go, Mr. Morella. Before that, and my point was, we will never know who was the first, but that's not important. But also, to add to that fact, karma is you know what. If I may relate to Mr. Johnson, the scoundrel that he was, when he passed, all of his properties, everything he owned, it did not go back to his children. It went to someone else. And do you know why? Because he was not considered a citizen. So if he's not a citizen, he can't own anything. That's my point. He did not have the right to own anything. He didn't have that luxury that we have today. So I will never talk about this again, but I wanted to just make the point that no one knows exactly history, what really happened. We have a good idea, but it should be important that we learn stuff that is beneficial for us. And I really don't think this was beneficial for us to know who was the first one. But thanks for the way, Mr. Morella. You always seems to enlighten us. Thank you, Mr. President.
Councilman Carroll, how many wishes did you exhaust? Seeing no other persons have requested to address the council, Madam Clerk. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Get my information back.